All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another day from Lockdown Victoria on the Sports Community live stream. I'm Steve Pallas, and I'm really pleased to be welcoming Dean Walton, coach of the Shepparton United Under-18s girls team, to the Sports Community live stream. Dean, welcome.
Thank you, Steve. It's great to be in a remote studio.
Remote studio in some would say a remote part of Victoria, but
a very foggy Shepparton today.
Indeed. So you're the coach of the girls team. Just give us a status update on the competition status. How is that travelling? You shut down, lockdown, or you're about to get going?
Yep. Well, we were shut down, locked down, not even allowed to train for sort of March, April, May.
Yep.
And we were advised in late June that our local competition, which is the Shepparton District Junior Footy League, we're going to commence on the 19th of July, which is 3 days away, which is really exciting. So with state government guidelines, we weren't allowed to have any sort of official training at all throughout June. But I can talk about that a bit later on. We may have had a few sneaky mental health wellbeing sessions that we call them, to get the girls together in groups of 10 or less, which was the requirements for outdoor activities. Then AFL Victoria released, I think it was the 1st of July, that under-18s sport could take on full contact, unlimited numbers at training, etc., and competition could commence. Hence, the 19th of July is it, round one.
Yeah, fantastic. As you say, I am really keen to explore how you kind of kept the girls together from the end of last year and recruited a period where you can't train, but I love the history of the club. So how long have you the girl or Shep United been providing girls football, and what was the catalyst to it?
So girls football started in 2017. The 4 years leading up to that, I was the junior development officer at Shep United Footy Netball Club. So we had 2 under-14s, 2 under-16s boys teams. We had one girl playing under-14s in 2016, and after under-14s, girls then aren't allowed to play in the boys competition under-16s. Shep United and we have another club here, Shepparton Bears, that we share a ground, and when you share a ground in a country town, it means that there's a very healthy rivalry at all levels of sport, which is great. So one of the mums, or the mum of this under-14s girls player, who I'd known for years through junior footy, advised me one cold winter's night in July 2016 that her daughter would have to go and play for the opposition, Shep Bears, because we didn't have a girls team. And I quickly announced that wouldn't be happening. I'll speak to the committee. We'll put together a girls team, and she stays as a Shep United Demon. And the rest is history. We had as I suppose a lot of country teams do, your committee have been around for a long time. You've got a lot of older. I think we seem to have a lot of older committee members, which is great because they know the club, know the league, know the town. But they were, I suppose, apprehensive to look at girls football.
Yeah.
They gave me sort of from the July, August of 2016, they gave me a 6-month window. So they gave me till February to see how it goes. And if you get enough numbers, we'll look at it. After that 2016 season finished, we had a come and try day in mid to late November that year as like a pre-season. We're thinking of putting a girls football team in. Come and have a go if you want to. And we had 25 at night one.
Yeah.
So I quickly let the president know well before Christmas that 2017 would be the first season of Shepparton United Youth Girls.
Yeah, cool. And we've got 4 people on live, so welcome to you.
Wow.
If you want to ask a question, get involved in the discussion. As normal, just type into the comments section of the Facebook page or the YouTube page or the Twitch page even, which Dean, your brother Andrew introduced us to the world of Twitch a while ago. So welcome to those that are watching online. Also welcome to those that will watch the video afterwards, because Dean, I'm sure you will attract a very, very large audience. But it's interesting, isn't it, that those traditional male sports, the old-time male committees kind of were so hesitant to go into female football. And it doesn't matter whether it's AFL, rugby league, rugby union, soccer has been a bit more progressive in female sport. But the response has been fantastic, hasn't it, from the girls?
This is our fourth year as a club, and we've had 17, 18, 19. We had squads of 30 girls. We've had obviously the first squad of 30. We recruited one girl from an opposition player as well as my under-14s player. So we had 28 brand new to football in our first season. Wow. So 2 that have played actually in a proper game before, and I think 2018-19 we introduced 8 to 10 brand new girls. This year we've got a squad of 26 due to a couple of clubs that have sort of folded due to current situation and coming from smaller country towns. We've picked up a few girls from other clubs, but we've got 4 that are brand new to footy again this year, which is great. And
so Dean, you're an experienced junior coach, having coached through the grades with the boys.
Yep.
How different is it coaching kind of teenagers that have not played the game before? How do you take them? How are they feeling when they come into the ground for the first time, not really knowing the game? And then how do you take them on that journey till they're comfortable enough to play that first game?
I suppose we were. It's really lucky that I think it's so new because they're actually really excited and they want to do it. The other, probably the highlight of it is with boys footy, and there's always that group of boys that think that they know footy, and even though they're 12, 13 or 14, they're going to win a Brownlow in 5 or 6 years, and they watch it on telly and they're going to be their idols. And then you also have we have really good parents, but you always have those other parents that always put a bit of extra pressure on their sons because dad may have been a really good footballer. Because footy's so new to girls, the girls just want to play it. They just want to learn it. They listen to everything you say. They try and do everything that you ask them to do. And even their legend country football dads just think it's great that their girls are playing footy, so they just let them go and have fun.
Yeah.
And we're all about laughing, crying, hugging, well, not hugging and high-fiving at the moment because we're not allowed to. But it's a real... Some have called it a circus environment when they play Shep United because my girls are told that if you don't smile and laugh, whether you're tackling, being tackled, miss it when you try and kick it or whatever, if you're not smiling and laughing, then that's not what we're about. We're about having a really good time.
Wow. And that's a very different mindset. The other anecdotal evidence that's coming out of the women joining the traditional male sports is that it's created some common ground between fathers and daughters. And we're seeing fathers and daughters form really stronger relationships than that they previously had because of that common ground. Is that what you're seeing in the...
Yeah, it was funny with coaching junior boys footy, you'd always think that the boys were having a kick with their dad, but a lot of times they weren't because dad was busy. But what we're finding now is when I say to the girls, can you go have a kick with your dad? And dads, what you've just said, dads can't wait to have a kick of the footy with their daughter.
Yeah,
It's this whole new thing that they probably never thought their daughter would be interested in, and they just love it.
Yeah, cool.
We've even had dads with the names of their daughter and number on the back of their Shep United hoodies. Which goes back to the old duffel coat days in the 80s.
Yes, Michael 8 Roach.
I had Mark 1 Lee.
Yes, I was a short bloke. I still am. So fast forward to the COVID period. A lot of clubs have really struggled to bring their players back, particularly in regional areas that, let's not sugarcoat it. It gets cold in winter in the regional areas. And so it's one thing to train in the summer and then train into the cold. It's another thing to all of a sudden have to start when it's freezing cold. So how have you kept in touch with the players, kept their enthusiasm, etc., and to get them to the point you got a team?
Well, because we had a 4-week sort of stint of training pre-Christmas. So most of our squad was put together in the warmer months. We then came back and we had a couple of weeks in February that we trained together, and the girls have their Facebook Messenger group chat that normally the coach isn't involved in, because sometimes they probably want to talk about the coach. So when the virus restrictions hit and we weren't allowed to train and you weren't allowed to participate in any groups of any size, etc., I just asked to be added to their group. I would keep in regular, every couple of days, I'd just put a message up on the Messenger group chat. How are you all going? What's going on? Once the restrictions were eased and you could have outside exercise activities up to groups of 10, as much as the clubs weren't allowed to have official training, I messaged all the girls and said that on a Friday afternoon we'll have a mental health, wellbeing, social catch-up hour, 4:30 to 5:30 on Fridays. If there's more than 10, we'll break up into groups, and as much as it's not football training, a couple of footballs may fall out of the boot of the car, and in groups of 10 you can probably have a kick. It was that, and look, and that was actually more of a, while we were all sort of communicating, and I was also sending out weekly emails and things, you just need to see them, and the teenage girls, even teenage boys, they just need to physically see each other as well. So as much as we had to social distance, and we provide hand sanitizer and they bring their own water bottles and stuff like that, but it was just to see the looks on their faces, just that first sort of social catch-up evening was amazing. And we've had the last 3 weeks we've been allowed to train, and out of a squad of 26 we've got 20 plus at training every night, which is awesome. And it's very cold in Shepparton at the moment. So, but they just love it. And I think that, that we've sort of stayed in touch and social. I'm a little bit outside the box sometimes with my coaching. So when we were supposed to have round 1, I actually did a video of a team meeting, and even had all the positions up on a whiteboard, and this is how I want to play the game, and these are our new players, and this is the position they're going to play in and why, and put that up on our Shepparton United Junior Football Facebook page. And it was great, just the response of that have a look at this madman putting a video up of a team meeting, and that the feedback of that was so good. I think round 3 we made the grand final last year and lost by a point, which is, if I start to shake Steve, it's still a sore point. But round 3 we were going to play our co-10s, which was a grand final replay, and I again put another video up of what would have been our team meeting the day before. So so just quirky little things that are a bit different. So,
but it's so clever when you're saying it, because what it does is it keeps them focused on what could have been, and what their role is, and how they interact, and all those sorts of things. Let me just pull in. Wendy, welcome to you. Well, we're talking about being freezing cold in country Victoria. You're sunning yourself in the city of Mandurah, talking about Northern Territory, who both have open bars and warm temperatures, so it's a little bit unfair. But as you say, when a couple of coaches started primary school girls competition in Northern Territory, invited girls to an open day, and over 100 girls turned up. And that's what's blown away some of the old school committees that have just been thinking boys and men, is that even the realisation that girls want to play sports they haven't traditionally played is so foreign to them. But it's, I don't understand, for example, why motorsport isn't 50-50 girls, or gliding isn't 50-50 girls and boys. There is no reason apart from historical behaviours and cultures, and that's what you're experiencing in Shep United there.
Yeah, and look, and country football, I think across the country is your main sort of fundraiser is social events after senior football and things like that. And part of our club junior membership across the board is that when the kids pay their registration, they get an adult membership for one of their parents as part of the deal. And the way to convince a committee of how well junior footy and then especially the girls being added was when you can say to a committee member after a normal senior game of football on a Saturday, see those 8 or 10 parents over there, they're mums or dads of the girls and they've never been here before. So we've introduced a whole new raft of members to the club that are coming in, watching games, spending money, buying merchandise, etc. So you can certainly convince the older school when they start to see that figures are ahead of the year before.
And from the family perspective, having so many choices, you can play football. If you're the girls, you can play the netball. You can choose to play both.
Yeah, we've got several of our players play netball Saturday for the Shepparton United football netball or the netball side, and then they play footy on Sunday.
Yep. Yeah.
And if it's a really
cool,
if it's a big netball game or a big football game on the same weekend, myself and the netball coach will have a stern conversation about which they should play first.
Yes. I can only imagine that. Now that would get some Facebook followers if you live stream that conversation. So what have you learned as we kind of start to wrap it up? But what have you learned and how have you changed as a coach, going from the boys to older teenage girls and young adults?
Well, at training sessions, hearing a lot of laughter and chat is good for girls because it actually means that they're loving just being there. And the conversations that I overhear or get involved in are completely different to boys footy. And they'll talk about they can be focusing on their footy and they just love wanting to learn and wanting to get better because they're just so excited to be playing footy. And they can talk about their school formal or their school debs or whatever else. I have been known that I've had to call off training for a 10-minute break so they can show each other their deb dresses, makeup trials on their phones because training may have been getting a bit out of hand. And that's something you would never do with boys footy. And to say to parents who've rocked up at the end of training, "Oh, geez, the girls are training really well. What have you done?" So we had a 10-minute break so we could check out their deb dresses for a fortnight's time and things like that. So it's a whole new world, but it's a whole lot of fun. It's the girls because there's scoreboards and ladders in our competition. The girls want to win. There's no doubt about that, but they just want to do it with a smile on their face and have a laugh. And our competition isn't that big. It's only 7 teams this year, and out of those 7 teams, probably 4 of those teams, all the girls go to the same school or utilise school services at the same school. So, and they might be netball teammates but football opponents. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I think what you said previously was really telling for me that regardless if you kick a goal or miss the kick, having enjoying that activity and getting the fun out of that action is so different to boys sport, isn't it?
Our very first game in 2017, we were playing the side that was going to win the grand final that year, and we were first year players. So again, apart from 2 girls, no one had ever been in a game. With about 3 minutes to go in the game, we kicked our first goal ever. So that made the score 93-6. And the umpire had to ask me to leave the ground because I ran onto the ground to hug the full forward. I got from the wing inside the 50-metre arc when the umpire realised I was out there and said, "Dean, can you just duck off for a minute? They haven't got long to go."
Yeah, and it's very much a different culture, different behaviour, different. And albeit you're being a little bit flippant, being the father of 3 daughters, and I have no idea how they think, is stopping training so they can talk about the Deb dress or the Saturday night or whatever it is that they choose to. It's a really important part of how they operate in groups, and they can be focusing on the drill and talking about the Deb at the same time. And it looks like that there's no focus and lack of attention, but it's actually quite the opposite.
Yeah. Now look, our culture, and we've and I know like culture is like a buzzword, but we've worked on that since day one. Is there's got to be smiles and laughter. There's nothing's negative. We can we celebrated after that first game like we'd won a grand final. We kicked the goal 93-6. You would think that we'd won a flag that day, and we've finished every game like that. We just celebrate the fact that we've got a group of teenage girls all getting along together, all playing for Shep United Football Club and having a great time.
And you know what? The grounding of being a long-term Richmond supporter, where you have to celebrate small wins like getting a goal in a game or something, sets you up very nicely to take that mindset into the coaching. So, Dean, as I say, just about at the end of every single one of these live streams, we could talk for hours. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. It's been brilliant, and looking through the coach's eyes has been great.
Yeah, well, we're very excited about Sunday, and we're just hoping that everything goes well with this COVID-19 stuff, and we can get a 6 to 8 week season in, which would be great.
Yeah, and then and that does kind of lead into all those disciplines of hygiene and all those things that we're social distancing and as much as possible and all those sorts of things, doesn't it? So if you're very interested in what the team meeting looks like, will we be seeing that on the Shep United Facebook page?
I'll actually be doing due to social distancing. This week's pre-game meeting will be out on the Oval, so all the parents can actually hear it and see it live. We may even video. We might put it up on Facebook anyway, just for fun.
Well, I think live streaming something like that would be A, very entertaining, and B, very educational for those that we're trying to work out how the differences between men and women, boys and girls, sports coaching. So, Dean, thank you for giving us 20 minutes of your time in a very hectic day leading up to your first game. So good luck.
No worries, thank you. Go United and go Tigers.
Go Tigers, yes. And for everyone else, thank you for hanging in there. And tomorrow, as normal, is eSport Friday, where we unravel the mysteries of whatever the hell it is that our kids are doing on their screens. Next week, we've got Doing Sport Differently Wednesday. So we've got a great guest from Warrnambool Triathlon Club talking about their program to get it's women again, seems to be the theme, but women off the couch and into triathlon. So brilliant learnings there, and lots of other guests, which I will organise hopefully a bit quicker than I did today, Dean. So thank you for your patience. And
thank you.
For everyone else, thank you for being part of our sports community.